Banter with me, your host, Nicole Aslan. Still not sponsored, still drinking Diet Coke out of my iced tea lemonade from Dunkin' Donuts this morning. Switched to the Diet Coke. It's been a long day. It's only Saturday and I'm exhausted and I don't know what's going on. Captain's walking around my feet right now. I just went to PetSmart and I got the cutest toy. It's a baguette and you put catnip in it. And as I'm watching the Tour de France this whole summer, this whole month, I thought it was appropriate. But enough about that. Today's guest is Jillian Eagan, who I found through the Wandering Tail and 3Gen Love and Wandering Tail down in New Bedford. I just picked up her book because it looked good. And guess what? It is. It's good. So I wore my anchor earrings today because of the whole ship thing. But it really was just an excuse for me to talk about how much I enjoyed the book, and I can't wait for the next one, which now the second one comes out in August 4th. So I'm excited because that's not that long away anymore because it's coming. Sorry, as I adjust myself. I just chopped off my hair yesterday. So today is day 2 of the Bixie or the Pob if you're Lynn from the Abington Library, which I loved calling it that. So today it's looking a little rough, but I think it's cute and I can't wait to see how it looks after I wash it and style it myself. So Jillian's great. We have a really great conversation and I just find it infinitely interesting how writers work and how the stories are created and how they come up with these things, because it's a pirate book. There's a little magic, but it's also a very human book. So you're not like completely transported out of the fantasy, but it also feels very grounded and real. So 2 thumbs up. As I said in the interview, The Silence of Deceit is the first one. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy the interview. Before we get into the interview, as always, I'm going to give you a little recap. So, like, we haven't talked like this in a while. I do have a couple spotlights. I have a review coming up, a review podcast of Ellen Byron's new book. But so much has happened this summer. Not really for me personally, but like the World Cup has happened and that's been fun, except now we're in the end and I'm bummed about who's playing for the final, which is Argentina and España. I don't care about either of those teams, so I'm kind of just ignoring it. Today is the 3rd place game and it's France and England, which I find fun because I am a student of Tudor history and everybody knows that France and England have always been at each other's throats in the medieval Henry VIII time. So I think it's kind of funny to see them playing a soccer game. So I'm going to watch that probably. The Red Sox play at 4 as well. So I'll probably be flipping back and forth if I can. Speaking of the Red Sox, look, I had to get my pen out for this because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, they decided to be good again. Like, what? Like, so last time we talked, I think I was like, oh, this season's a lost season. They could still squeak into the playoffs. But then before the All-Star break, they reeled off 10 straight wins and then, or 9 straight wins. Then yesterday they had a doubleheader, and I'm like, oh, they'll probably lose one of those because, you know, just law of averages. No, they won both. And not only did they win both, look at, I'm going to get all squeaky. Not only did they win both, they won, they came back. So before, earlier in the season, if they went down 2-0 in like the second inning, we wrote them off because they never, ever came back. This past 2 weeks, they have the games that they played, they've come back from big deficits. They've rallied. Now, last night, the deficit was cut in half by my boy Willier and my boy Wilson. I love both of those guys. Love them both. And I want them to be on the team forever. But I say that about a lot of people. I was just in the car listening to sports talk because that's what I do. And they were talking about bringing Xander Bogaerts back to be the veteran in the room. And I ain't mad at that. Like, yeah, he's a little bit older. He hasn't had a good season. But, you know, it never hurts to have a good human in the room. And so yeah, so I'm cool with that if they want to bring him back and get rid. I was team Jaron Duran for a long time, but then some stuff started coming. So I was even on his side when he got into like altercations with the fans because I'm like, hey dudes, like relax, it's just a game, don't be, you know, screaming out weird stuff to your boy. Well, apparently he hasn't learned his lesson too much because he called somebody else a slur for a gay man, and or for a gay person, I guess. And that seems to me like he didn't learn his lesson from the last time he got caught saying that word. And, like most humans, we do mess up and hopefully you learn from it, but he didn't. So I'm cool if they want to trade him now. I'm kind of over the Jaron Duran experiment, even though he runs like an angry lizard. Masataki Yoshida, my other boy with the blinding white smile and the perfect running form, has hit so many home runs in the past few days. Like, am I hopeful about this team? I think I am. So it's kind of fun to be on the winning side again. And let's see how they can keep up today. It's kind of a gray, rainy day. Almost, I think I said this in the last one too, that you can't lose a rain out, but I don't know if that's going to happen. We still have a little bit of the wildfire smoke from Canada. So if you're listening from up in Canada, I know I'm sending my thoughts, my love, hopefully you guys are safe. And if you're here feeling the effects of the smoke, I hope you're safe too, because it's definitely not good for some of us with breathing problems. But definitely, and those in Texas with the floods, it's like the end times. And also there's the whole lettuce outbreak. Good thing I don't eat lettuce, right? Yeah, so lots going on in the world, and that's why I like books. And that's a really bad segue, but sometimes we talk about escapism, and Jillian and I talk about it as well. It's just sometimes you want to go to a world that does not exist, but still feels like it could exist, if that makes sense. So I hope you enjoy our talk. I enjoyed it. And like I said, I turn into Chris Farley. Like, remember when you did that thing? I loved it. I can't wait for book 2 and book 3. And then she talks about her other works that she's working on, and it sounds great. And friends, if you're listening, she went to Emmanuel College, so we have that kind of tie-in. I have friends who go there now, or daughters go there. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it, because I really enjoyed it. And this is the best part of being an author, is finding another indie author who's kind of a nerd about books as you are. And we talk a little bit about that as well. So make sure you take a chance on indie authors, guys, because you might find your new favorite. And I did. So enjoy, Jillian. Welcome to Baseball Books and Banter. My guest today is Jillian Eagan, and I'm excited because I did a book signing at the 3 Gen and Wandering Tale in New Bedford, a great bookstore slash gift artisan in this old mill building, which is really cool, right on the water. Parking sucks, but that's getting better, I think. I think they're opening a new parking lot. And it was, let's say, it was the first nice day it was in May. It was the first sunny day of New England summer. And so it wasn't as heavily attended as I would have liked. So I explored every inch of the store. And before I left, I was like, well, let's just meander over to these local authors and see what we got. And the cover, The Silence of Deceit, really spoke to me as a fan of pirates and ships and Pirates of the Caribbean. And so I started reading it, and I gushed on pretty much every social media platform I had, because it's so good, Jillian. And it's your first book.
It is, yeah, my first published.
I mean, come on. So welcome, the
Thank
author of
you.
my favorite series, Jillian Eagan, from cloudy Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain today, which we need.
Yep.
So tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So The Silence of Deceit is my debut novel. I started it in 2017
Wow.
after I moved to Cape Cod. There's a lot of pirate history around here. So it was a big inspiration. And then, I kind of put it down, picked it back up a few times, and then 2025 was the year. So I've been writing for as long as I can remember. I went to school for creative writing, so it kind of just all made sense. So I'm really excited to be on this journey. As an indie author, it's a learning curve, but I've had a lot of fun,
Yeah.
honestly.
And
Yeah.
you're busy. I mean, you're booked and busy. You're always at events. And
Yeah.
where were you just recently where you got to dress up?
Oh,
In
I was
Shannon?
in Chanticon, yeah, in St. Louis.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. It was the event, it was fine, but
I've
I met.
heard I've heard, yes. And as someone, I do mystery conferences, obviously, because I write mysteries.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're gonna have, there's some really great ones, but then some can not be as great, but it's never the people that are there really.
Oh
So
no, yeah.
yeah, I mean the pictures and stuff online looked like the group was super fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we basically talked for 3 days straight, which was really
yeah.
fun. So I met a lot of really good author friends. So that's always an asset.
And then you
So
come home as a writer and you're like, I cannot talk to anybody for like 4 days. Like I
I
need
know,
to
yeah.
stop. Yeah, I did an event this past Saturday in Rhode Island and like my voice started going. Like I hadn't
Yeah.
talked to people for like a week. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yip, 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 yip,
Yeah.
yip. And then I'm like, I can't talk anymore. This has never happened to me
Yeah, I
because
know.
I'm a
It's like,
yapper, as you
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that I'm usually not day to day, but put me in that
know.
like area location with all these people who love books and authors who write it, and you like can't shut up.
It's your people, it's what you love, it's a passion, and
Right.
you love talking to other people with that passion. I get that 100%. Like it's it's the best feeling in the world to find people who understand, kind of,
Yeah.
especially with a young adult novel, with a little romance in it. That community, much like the, I think the mystery writers and the romance writers, they do bleed into each other a lot, but
Hmm.
they're two of the most welcoming communities I've found. And I
Yeah.
think, especially now that it's a little bit more wide open to indie authors.
Hmm.
Um, you came out at a good time, I think, as an indie author because
Yeah.
it's much better.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels a little more accessible, I think, than what I expected. I tried the traditional route for about a year and a half, and I made the decision to do it myself. And I think that what's been really nice is the kind of open doors that people have been having for indie authors, especially bookstores and events. Like it's been, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's
Oh,
been a little more welcoming,
and
like
you
you
also have
said.
more control, right? Like
Right.
you can go decide, I want to go to Enchanticon and bring yourself and your books and all that stuff, but you don't have to worry about a publicist or you're your publicist, which
Right.
can be hard. Um,
Yeah.
as all the indie authors listening are going, yep, yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep, Um, I did want to ask before I get really deep into the book lore, the cover. How did that come about?
So my cover artist is a wonderful artist, Samantha Marshall Sanderson. Yes, I think
What's
that's
it? Sanderson Marshall. I'm just
Sanderson
looking
Marshall.
at
Yeah, I always mix those two up. And I was just talking to her yesterday. So
for book
um,
two. For book two.
for book two,
Oh my
yep.
god, I can't wait.
Yeah, I should get some proofs this week.
Oh my
So
god.
very exciting. But yeah, she's a wonderful artist. I met her through Readsy and I really liked her style. And she actually reads each of my books
Okay.
to make the art. So
Yeah.
she's really committed to getting in that theming and that symbolism.
Yeah.
And she is fantastic. I mean, most people, like you said, are drawn in by the cover,
Right.
which I was so excited to find out because, I think that a lot of covers can kind of be the same. So you really want to
Mhm.
stand out. And I think she captured it perfectly. I love it.
And you can tell it's human art, which I think is also
Yes.
important.
Yes.
I think, and that's another great thing is the map. I love a map in a book because then you go back and you're like, oh right, that's where the boat was going. Okay,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. Love that. Where so did the idea come prior to Cape Cod living, or were you always fascinated by kind of the Pirates of the Caribbean stories and the not the pirates of like the bad pirates?
Yeah.
Like as I wrote it, I just wrote my reviews on it today, and I said good-hearted pirates, like pirates
Yeah.
with a soul. Some of them, um, yeah. Like where did that kind of start?
I think, I don't know. My first question to a lot of people at events is, do we like pirates? Are we
Yeah,
pirate fans? And
yeah,
people are like, huh, I've never considered that because everyone kind of enjoys watching pirates or
Yeah.
reading about pirates. Like it's such a cool part of human history. And I could go
But
very
it's also
deep
because
into that.
it's the freedom aspect of a pirate.
Right,
They're not tied to anybody.
right.
Yeah, some of them can be really bad and harmful.
Yeah,
They're not, they don't answer to anybody. They're kind of their own people.
right.
I think that's why people really enjoy stuff like that, because they're like, oh my God, they're so free and easy. And it's like, oh, but
Yeah.
it's harder.
It's yeah, and there's just some like dramatic flair that
Mhm.
even the real pirates had, like just this very theatrical kind of existence.
Like the Savannah Bananas of sailors. Like they
Right.
just they were the ones they're like, we do all the hard work, but we also wear floofy blouses
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We also wear an eye patch.
Yeah, they were definitely the theater kids of the ocean. I
Amen.
mean, so
I think that's the tagline for book two.
yeah, right.
Theater kids of
The
the
theater
ocean.
kids of the ocean. But yeah, I think that when I got here, there's just so much, nautical kind of imagery and it kind of puts you in the mood for some pirates. So that was really, I had the idea for Rosalie and Silence, and then you kind of throw a wrench in their plans and it's
Mhm.
pirates.
Mhm.
So that's what really helped it move along. But I started writing. I moved here June of 2017, and I wrote it for National Writing Month when
Oh, yeah,
that was a thing
right.
in November.
Yep.
So yeah, it was my first like real finished novel.
Did you in college as a creative writing major, did you storyboard ideas for future novels, or was it mainly like short stories? Because for me, for creative writing, it was poetry at the time.
Yeah.
So definitely not that anymore. Um, but yeah, like how did the degree help you bring that
Um,
to life? And or did it?
so it did and it didn't. We did a lot of creative nonfiction.
Mhm.
That was my I went to a manual, so it was a very small school, so it was a very small creative writing program, which was great. And the head of it is a creative nonfiction
Mhm.
writer. So we did a lot of that, a lot of short stories. I didn't do poetry. I dodged that.
Yeah, I was very angsty in college. It's a
Yeah.
long time ago. You're still young, but yeah, it was a long time ago for me. So it's like good looking back. My friend and I were talking this week. He's like, "Oh yeah, I was trying to find a poem I wrote, and I was thinking about releasing my poetry." And I was like, "Oh, I have a lot of my poems for college." He's like, "You should put together a poetry book." I'm like, "Oh, it's bad. I don't know if I should." It's very much, a 21-year-old's idea of romance and angst and
Yeah.
all of that. And as a 43-year-old now, it is not the same. It is
Yeah.
not the same.
Well, I mean, that's how writing evolves. I
Yeah.
mean, you look back at, 10 years ago and you're like, ooh, I don't know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that. And then on the side, I took a lot of history
Mm.
classes and I took a history on pirates. So that was like the nail in the coffin
Ding.
where it was like, okay, I can make this work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history behind it, but you kind of have to keep the fantasy element too. But I had a lot of fun. Those were my favorite classes.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my God, that sounds
Yeah.
really, if you're going to be in college, like find those classes where you learn something, but you also have fun.
Yeah.
It really sparks things. I took, oh, what was it called? It was a French class, but it wasn't French. It was
Mhm.
like living like a French person. So it was
Oh,
like learning about the culture and uh, oh God, I can't even think. It was Professor De Jong. She was my academic advisor, and I loved her to death. But yeah, if you find a class like that, you learn. I still have the books from that class because it's
yeah.
so good. Um, and actually, it's funny. One of my best friends, her daughter goes to Emmanuel College for art
Oh,
therapy.
cool.
So when I saw Emmanuel, I was like, oh, I know where that is. I drive by it to go to Fenway sometimes. And I just learned you can. I don't want to tell people because this might be my new secret, but whatever. The tens of people that listen to this can use it. I think you can park at the Emmanuel Library on the weekends for Red Sox games, and it's like $30
Yeah, they
instead of
do.
50,
That's
60, 70, and then you just walk. I was like, oh, that might be the thing to do.
yeah, because not a lot of people commute, so
No.
the parking lots are pretty empty. So I think that is still true.
But again, if you're the tens of people listening, don't do it when I decide I want to go to a game.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
because I did park at the Prue once, and that's a long ass walk, and I'm hot now, and like I can't. It's summer, I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it. I almost went yesterday, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go park, and then it got hot and I was like, I'm gonna go lay on my couch instead.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the other thing I loved about the book, first of all, I just noticed your sweatshirt.
Oh,
Crow
yeah.
is the his nom de plume of the pirate, the king of the pirate, if you will. Not king, but the captain, I guess. I have a cat named the captain, so when I say that, I'm like, oh, the
Oh,
captain. Where it's,
yeah.
I don't know where the captain is right now, um, but he's missing a chipmunk on the deck. The other thing I really loved about the book, there is the love story,
Mhm.
which I thought was great. I really enjoyed the relationship between Rosalie, the main character, and her best friend Silence. I
Yeah.
think that, oh, I'm getting all tingly thinking about it because it's a beautiful, they complement each other and you can see why they're friends.
Mhm.
And I almost think that's the overarching love story of your book because that's really the driving factor for both of them. Where did that come from? That's such a broad question, but did you kind of know you wanted to write, yes, pirates, yes, a little bit fantasy, but also a strong friendship narrative?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when this kind of came in, but I think a lot of fantasy books kind of are lacking that
Mm-hmm.
like friendship
Mm-hmm.
angle. And a lot of protagonists, especially female protagonists, they feel very lonely
Yeah.
and they can still be like Rosalie still feels lonely
Mm-hmm.
even with the friendship. So I think that there's a way to kind of still get that emotion and kind of instability, but still have a really strong friendship.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always tell people that Silence is kind of like the older sister figure
Yeah.
that I never had. I have two older brothers, which Rosalie has. So
Yeah.
they're,
I wonder where that came from.
yeah, exactly. Um, so she was always kind of meant to be part of their little family. I mean, I had so many friends growing up that felt like family. So it just kind of felt like a
She
natural.
definitely feels very maternal and very comforting. Even, I mean, I'm not to spoil anything, like, but there's a lot going on in her life,
Yeah.
and but she's also very invested in Rosalie's stuff too, and it's like juggling all that, but she still has the caring personality. And because this is not really a spoiler, Rosalie loses her mom.
Mhm.
She, it kind of fills that void, but also in a mutual way. Like they're not,
Yeah.
you don't feel like one friend is doing more than the other friend. They're there for each other in just different ways.
Yeah, and that was definitely the part of it because I think that you don't want to have that one-sided
Yeah,
relationship. And I tell a lot of people that Rosalie is kind of the side character of
almost.
the trilogy,
Yeah,
which is like interesting for me to explore because I don't know. I think with someone who has chronic illness, thinking about like if I was the main character of the fantasy series, not a lot would get done.
yeah, right.
But
That
you
I was
can
going to
add
talk
to
about
it.
that too. Yeah, like she
Yeah.
does have a chronic illness. It's an unnamed illness, but it doesn't limit her. It limits her, but not like she comes into it in the end where she sort of accepts that, this is going to happen and
Mhm.
we'll work around it, but it doesn't define her either. And I think that's important to show that there's so many people with these illnesses that you don't see right away, or
Right.
even you do see right away, but it shouldn't define them. And I think that's another aspect of the Silence Rosalie relationship, that Silence accepts her for 100 and says, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. We're good. And Crow sort of steps in that way too, where they know how to deal with the moment and then not talk about it
Yeah.
being an issue. And I think that's beautiful because
Thank you.
it's
Yeah.
needed. It's needed.
Right. And that's what, it's a really delicate line because you don't want
Yeah.
her to be too helpless. You don't want her to be overly strong where it's like, well, is she
Why
even
is,
sick?
yeah, right.
So it's and the thing about I think representation of disability and chronic illness in fantasy, the trope is like, oh, well, magic comes in and
Yeah.
fixes everything,
Yeah.
which is very nice. I would love if that
Right.
could
Wouldn't
happen.
we all love that? Yeah.
Right. But you do need some reality in fantasy,
Yeah.
or else it kind of becomes untethered.
Well, yeah, it's like a fairy tale. And you're like, well,
Right.
I don't relate to this character because everything's fixed.
Right.
Or if it does get magically fixed, then they never talk about it again. And it's like,
Right.
never happened. And it's like, well, come on. Like,
Yeah,
she lived how many years of her life with this? And now all of a sudden she never thinks about it. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I
exactly.
think you got, like you said, you tethers to a real character. It tethers to the feel of the person, and it makes it more three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I could see on TV. So yeah, I don't know anybody who can do that, but if you were going to, I also, I'm trying to think how to word this right. Like with that, I think I wrote in my book, even though Silence has something going on, Rosalie has things going on, together they have things going on,
Mhm.
the pirates have things going on. They aren't damsels in distress necessarily. Yes, crap happens to them,
Yeah.
but they don't immediately wallow. There's like a
Mhm.
moment of wallowing because everybody would, like, you get into a car
Right.
accident, you're upset, but then you pick yourself up and you start over. And I like, and I think in, especially in young adult fantasy, I think that's so great, for young women to be like,
Mhm.
oh, we can have moments of vulnerability, but we can also accept help.
Yeah.
I think that's hard for, even as a middle-aged woman who, accepting help is hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I like that vulnerability that they all show together. Again, tethering it to like real emotions.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and yeah, that's a delicate balance too of like how much do they ask for help? How much do
Mm,
they do on their own? And especially Rosalie, who's
yeah,
basically been taken care of her entire life. Um, Being out in the real world, if you want to call it that. I mean, is
yeah.
pirates the
I know.
real world? Um,
There's magic, so like not.
yeah, yeah. So it's definitely like you said, I think emotions, you have to have real emotions. And I think some fantasy books, you're like, wow, how is she not breaking down like even for
Right.
a second?
Right.
Like, so I
Did
think it
she
is
have a
important.
moment, like even in
Right.
the mysteries I read, I read a lot of cozies because that's what I write, and it's, she just saw three dead bodies in the past
Right.
3 months. Like, why is she not talking about that in later books? Like,
Right.
where she has a moment where she goes, oh God.
Yeah.
Ugh. And I think it's important to show, because people reading it would go, why, like you said, why didn't she react to that?
Yeah.
Because this is weird. This is not,
Yeah.
and granted, it's fantasy. We get it. But I do think it takes people out of the book if
Right.
they're questioning the characters. I think that's why I don't like unreliable narrators. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no, stop it. You're acting dumb, and I hate it. We had a big I don't know who I was talking to. Oh, one of my coworkers. She found out. I told her I wrote. She didn't find out. I was just like, oh, I'm a mystery writer. Oh, da, da. And we were talking about books, and I said, oh, the only book I hated, and I'll blast, is Gone Girl. I didn't love Gone Girl. I'm one of those who threw it across the room at the end. I was like, I just don't like it. And she goes, oh, I really liked Gone Girl. She's like, you know what I didn't like? The girl in the window or on the train and the thing. And I was like, yeah, it was like a spate there for a while of
Hmm.
women looking out and being kind of messed up women, which is true. We're all
Yeah.
messed up somehow. But it just felt like I read to escape a lot of times.
Right.
But you can escape with reality, but have a little bit of magic, which I think your book is. It's like that little dose of magic, if that
Right.
makes sense.
And I think that's what that balance of reality and fantasy, because it's like if I went through, what Rosalie goes through,
Mhm.
I don't think I'd still be having panic attacks every 5 minutes, but
Right,
she has that little panic attack, but she moves on. And
right.
that's the fantasy part of
Yeah, right.
it.
The rest of
Yeah.
us dwell and
Right.
like, oh God. But I think that's really, and so getting back to like process of the book, because I feel
Mhm.
like I just gushed about the book so much, and I tell people all the time, I said my podcast is basically me in the old You're Too Young for This Chris Farley sketch where he's like, do you remember when you did that thing? That's awesome, it was great. Because that's really what it is. It's
Yeah.
people I like to talk to. But are you a pantser, or are you a plotter, or a little bit of both?
It really depends on what I'm working on. Book one took a very long time. And
Right.
I think that I had no strategy. I just
Okay.
had to keep going with what I had,
Yep.
and a lot of it got scrapped and rewritten. Book two is definitely easier to plot out, and
Right.
now book three is a little bit more contained, I
Because you
guess.
kind of, but after the first one, you know where you want the story to go, right? Because it is a
Right.
trilogy, and um, kind of, especially at the end of book one, there is so much to be said
Yeah.
going forward. So I think it probably does help that you get to that point. You're like, okay, now I should plan out what's going to happen in the next two.
Yeah, I mean, you basically go in with, okay, this is how I want
Mhm.
the trilogy to end. I need to get from this point to this point, and then I'll have a break with
Right.
book two, and then um, so I think that there's definitely parts of it that are planned, and then parts that kind of come out of nowhere.
Well,
So
like all writers know that you can plan as much as you want, and then you're typing, and then the character is like, wait a minute.
right, right, exactly.
Yeah. And so you have to do a detour and say, fine, you want to be in this book too. That's great. I have one friend who Elle Jaffray, who wrote the Suddenly French mysteries.
Mhm.
And she said when she gets to the point where a character is like really talking to her, but it's not in her very precise outline, she'll go write a short story from their perspective
Oh
and
yeah,
then come back and be like, okay, now we're back on track because that person got their thing out.
yeah,
And also with writer's block, that's how she does it. I'm like, that's genius. I should think of
yeah.
doing
That's a
that.
good idea.
Yeah, as I'm in the murky middle right now of my book, I'm like, I should maybe do a side quest. Um,
Yeah,
uh, what was I going to say about that? Oh shoot! This is what happens. Like,
I'm yeah. That's been
and it's
me.
Saturday, and it's like
Yeah,
it's gonna rain, and the smoke is kind of out again.
yeah, yeah. It is a little
And
hazy.
so, did you grow up in Massachusetts?
I did. I grew up in Hopkinton.
Okay.
And then I was there until I graduated high school. So yeah,
Then you
I
came out here, or here.
yeah.
I'm like Mashpee's not really here. I said that.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, don't find her. Ugh.
It's fine.
Don't stalk her unless you're going to buy her books.
Yeah, right.
I do love on your website, you do have the wholesale link and the link to buy your books. Your media kit goes right to a Google Drive. I'm like, that is well planned. Like
I
stuff
had
that
help with that.
I was like, but I was going to say stuff that I wish I knew as a baby author when I started this journey in 2019. Like that's kind of stuff I think your journey really can help these
Mhm.
indie authors because there's so much. Like I just did my first, what is it, Ben Venti
Oh yeah,
event
yeah,
form, and I'm like, oh, it's like a shop and they can order and then I can do this and that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, didn't know that
yeah,
existed. And the wholesale form thing really blew my mind because I'm like, I didn't think of that. I do have a publisher that is in charge of all distribution, but like I had two years where I had no publisher and all this.
yeah.
So I think, did you, when you started the self-publishing, indie publishing, as we call it, because self-publishing has a tone, and I don't like that because
Yeah.
this is not what people would call self-publishing because it's edited, it's
Mhm.
professional covers, professional stuff inside, professional. Also love Reedsy, by the way. I got my editor from Reedsy. So
Yeah, me too.
people, Reedsy is amazing to find whatever you need. I almost got my map person, but my map I ended up just making in Canva because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm also cheap, which as all of our indie author knows, there's you have a budget for things.
Yes.
Sometimes you can go over, sometimes you can go out. A lot of times it's travel. So
Yeah.
especially to St. Louis, oh my goodness. Uh because that's like more than one flight, I would think.
It was actually direct.
Oh,
I was
good to
surprised.
know.
Yeah.
If I ever have to go to the Midwest, St. Louis considered Midwest. I'm
Yes.
showing my geography skills.
Well, I learned that this weekend.
Okay, good, good. Then I
So,
don't feel as bad.
yeah.
Um, where was I going with all that? I don't remember. Oh, just that, like, did you have a mentor, kind of, not a mentor, but like people helping you on this journey at the beginning, or did you just go in blind and just did a lot of Googling?
Um, I did a lot of Googling. I
Yeah.
think I met people along the way.
Yeah.
Reedsy was great. I started my social medias a little late,
Okay.
um, like just a couple months before I published. So I
Mhm.
was a little behind on that. But yeah, just kind of over time, I always say you learn something new every week when you're publishing your
100%.
first book. You're like, oh, I need an ISBN, I need to set up a website. Like it's a lot of little things that you just have to check off.
Mhm.
And I still, I'm still figuring stuff
Oh,
out.
yeah.
So
And I think that's even traditionally published authors say that too. They're like,
yeah.
oh, that's what we need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that was something that would happen. And I think I think, like I said, I love this time of life. That's such a weird way to say it, where it is more equitable.
Mhm.
Granted, that also brings in people who are just like doing it to shoot off stuff. But
Right.
I think if you can find there is quality out there, case in point, your book.
Mhm.
And you just have to be open to it. And by going to events, that's where I get a lot of my indie books from. And I think that's where you find the people who are dedicated to it
Right.
because they're taking the time to come out and say hi and to sell their book. I mean, how many times did you give your elevator pitch at your last craft fair? Like, it's pirates, it's magic,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and you get that ingrained. I talk about all the time. There's at one of the conferences I go to, Malice Domestic. There's a Malice go round, and it's speed dating.
Mhm.
And you talk to 13 or 31 tables, 2 minutes about your book, and by the end of that, you're like, I will never want to say that
Yeah.
elevator pitch again. But
Yeah.
as you're talking about it, you're like, that is real, it really does sell the book. And I think, yeah, that's another thing I think you learn as a baby author is you like, I have to get comfortable
Right.
with the cringe of being
Yeah.
like, take me out to a murder. Well, Madeline strike out trying to find a killer. Like
Yeah.
you have that's moral of the story, guys. Embrace the cringe.
Yes.
Is as being because you have to shout into the void and be like, my book has pirates.
Yeah, exactly.
They're smooching, and people have to, they just get. You just have to do it.
Yeah. And I think if you don't embrace it, people are going to see that, oh, she's really not, her heart's not in it. So you
Right.
have to really be like, this is my life's work.
Yep.
And you have to be proud of it. I
And I
mean,
love it.
yeah, it's weird kind of being like, oh, here's this thing I made, will you
Mhm.
buy it? But I think I'm learning over time that people really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That
Especially if they know when you talk to them about it, they can see
right,
that it's
right,
something you wanted to do. And it's not like, well, I heard vampires were cool, so I wrote a
right,
vampire book.
right.
Come on. We know you're not into it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what was fun over the weekend is there wasn't a lot of people there, but the people that were there were amazing, and you just had time to just sit and talk
Yeah.
to them, and they're going to be advocates for you
Mm-hmm.
because they know who I am. They like understand kind of where I'm coming from. So I think it is making those like
Oh, yeah.
in-person connections if you can. And then of course I learned so much from my author friends that were
And
there.
it
So
opens doors. I mean, I joined Sisters in Crime before I had my book, Sisters in Crime New England as well. And
mhm.
now I'm president of the board. So, like, you just make those connections and it opens doors like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, Granted, we still all want to be our stuff to be adapted for Netflix, but never
Right.
know. Manifest,
Right.
manifest it. But we are coming close to the end, and I always like to get recommendations from books of either books that have helped you through your life, your favorite books growing up, or books you've just read and you're like, hey, check this book out, guys.
So my favorite series is Fable by Adrienne Young. She definitely helped me write this book. And then my other favorite series that is helping me write a Gothic novel is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Those are two incredible series. None of the books disappoint. Um, so I always recommend those two.
I just wrote because you said Gothic, and I was like, ding, my
Yeah.
eyebrows just went up. Uh, and book one is out, obviously.
Yes.
When is book two? August?
August 4th.
August.
Yep.
Let me write it down. I follow you on Amazon now, so it'll send me the email when
Oh,
it's
awesome.
available because I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
And
Cool.
also, I know actually, oh, August in the summer is kind of a pain to get to the Cape, but I know you're doing an event at the Hyannis Barnes and Noble. I saw
Yes.
your website on August 8th. So if you people listen to this before then, go see it. I'm like, oh, maybe I can go and just get one signed. Yeah, I might.
It's 12 to 4, so I'll be there for
I
four
know
hours.
that's not a bad time. What did I say? Yeah. So you might see me. And then
Oh, well, I'm also going to be at the Wandering
I was just like,
Trail on
no.
the 22nd.
Right. I was like, you got some events coming up with that book.
Yeah.
And book 3, drafting currently.
I'm about 17,000 words from the end of the first draft.
Oh
So,
my God. Oh my God. I'm so
yeah.
excited. And then the Gothic novel that you were just talking about, that's kind of in the process.
Yeah, that was one that I wrote while I was
Okay.
trying to traditional publish. So that one might be next.
Okay.
So that
Oh,
one's a lot of
you got
fun
a lot
too.
coming on. Where
Yeah.
can people find you other than at the Barnes and Noble and the Wandering?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, Jilly's Bookshelf, and then on TikTok at Jillian's Bookshelf. And then my author site is JillianEaganAuthor.com.
And I will link to all of those so they can just find you from me.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for letting me fangirl because, like I said, I loved it and I can't wait to read more of their story. So, 2 thumbs up from Nicole.
Awesome.
That
Thank you
should be
so
my
much.
review. Two thumbs up. Peter Kids on the Sea.
Yeah.
But enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much.
Wasn't she awesome? Like, so I love her perspective of how the book came together, how the subsequent books are coming together. Because, as most of you know on this podcast, because you've listened to previous ones, very rarely do I have new people. But if you are new, hi, welcome. I'm working on my 4th book in the series right now. And yeah, you kind of, the first one is kind of the baby, the crystallized version of what you wanted. And then you kind of have to follow through in the rest. And I can't imagine writing a fantasy series because that's something you definitely have to keep a good eye on what you're doing. So shout out to Jillian. Thank you for joining me. Can't wait for book 2 and book 3 and the Gothic. And I will most likely, depending on Saturday traffic to the Cape, be out there August 4th or August 8th to see her 12 to 4 at the Barnes and Noble that my cousin works at. So shout out Sam. I don't have any book news for you other than if you follow my TikTok, you'll see that I've been writing. I'm up to about 35K on book 4. My thought is I want to have it done by September when book 3 comes out so that I'm a year ahead. And we're getting there. So stay tuned. I did just re-sign with Level Best Books to reissue the first 2 books in the series. So I don't know if we're going to have new covers, but stay tuned for that as well. One of the things I'm also really excited about coming up is I follow a lot of baseball romance writers because I love baseball, not just the sport, but I love like the whole vibe. And a lot of them were taking part of this event in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania. And for those that know, I graduated high school from Central Pennsylvania, lived there for 10 years, kind of like I don't have a place I call a hometown, but if I did, it'd probably be Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, because I lived there for 10 years. Although now I've lived here for 14. So is this now considered my hometown? But this lovely bookstore, mobile bookstore called The Gilded Prose, is putting together a Love in the Ballpark, romance at the ballpark with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. And as I put in one of my notes about this, is if you remember, right after the pandemic sort of ended, they had a game where they rebranded as the Cats. And so I bought a sweatshirt that says Cats. So I was like, ooh, that's not a bad trip to take. And who doesn't love a vacation in Allentown, Pennsylvania? So at the end of August, I will be driving down to take part in this ballpark event. I will put the links on my website where you can buy special tickets to sit in a special group. You also have to pre-order all your books if you want to order books from any of the authors because they don't let you sell in the stadium. So definitely, if you're looking to buy some books, maybe I'll have new covers, maybe not. If not, you'll get some of the old ones and then you'll have collector's editions, as I like to say. I did also just drop books off at the Paperback Junction in Easton, Mass. It recently went through an ownership change, but they're still doing used books. And Dennis was super nice, super friendly. We're going to try to do a signing in there in the fall when book 3 comes out. So if you're in off 138 down in below Stoughton, definitely check it out and also pick up some my books or their books. What else? What else do I got going on? July 31st. Now we're backtracking. July 31st, I'm going to be on Margaritaville in Hyannis for the Cape Cod Writers Conference. I'm doing a mystery making with friend of the program, Sharon Healy Yang, and Barbara Struna. That's going to be really fun because in 2017, I got a scholarship to go to that conference, and Dale Phillips, also a friend of the program, taught a class on how to make a mystery, how to write a mystery. And then 2 years later, my book came out. So he likes to take credit for my work, but he did teach me some of what I know. And like I say in the podcast, I mean, from 2017 to now being president of Sisters in Crime New England, like what a change. Speaking of Sisters in Crime New England, we are still planning everything, still doing stuff. Dennis, his brother was a homicide detective, so I'm trying to get with his brother to do a webinar. We are also gearing up for the New England Crime Bake in November in Dedham. And yes, it's at the Hilton, but it may be the DoubleTree by then. And they're also going to have cookies. And we're still looking at other hotels because I just found out this week the Sheridan Castle in Framingham that overlooks the Mass Pike changed to a Marriott. And I don't know about you, but mystery writers love a Marriott. So the hotel liaison's reaching out to them to see if maybe we can switch to that hotel, but who knows? The one benefit of the Dedham Hotel, not expensive, not cost prohibitive. So you could get a room there for $120 a night during the conference and then see amazing people like, well, me and what's her face? Lisa Gardner and Joe Finder, the guests of honor. So that's in November. So in between that time, September and October, I'm hoping to hit up a lot of bookstores because I should have book 3 in hand. Keep following my socials. You'll find out the real date there. I'll send out my sometimes periodical, sometimes quarterly, sometimes monthly, sometimes every other month newsletter. But definitely keep an eye out for that. But what I'm sure you're all really here for after talking to Jillian, like I said, go buy her book. It's books I'm reading now. And I just did a library pickup. So we got Karen Auden's An Artful Dodge. She is, I talked to her at Malice before. She has a couple of great mystery series, historicals, and this one is a Victorian London. And as I've said, I love a good historical mystery, especially in Victorian times. This one I just finished this morning, A Botanist's Guide to Tradition and Treachery, which is the 5th, I think, in the series. Yes, the 5th installment. Oh, I did that in my head very nicely. I really enjoy these mysteries. It's very sciencey, but very historical. And this one was set in Turkey, and it was really interesting. And then Kate does a lot of research, so it's pretty awesome. And then on my Kindle, I'm reading A Slice of Champagne, which is Becky Sue Epstein's forthcoming, hopefully soon. She's getting ready to ship it out. Cozy mystery. It's her first, and I will say it's great. I'm 4 chapters in and loving it. I'm also reading Stephanie King, who was my bestie from Malice. Death at Summerhill, I think it is. I can't off the top of my head. I'm so dumb. I don't have my Kindle with me. And again, another one that's coming soon. She sent me the cover like as a preview, and it's like perfect. So get ready for that. I'm going to blast that on my socials when it comes out. And also this week, I'm going, as part of the Great Escapes virtual book tour, I got to read Ellen Byron's latest Golden Motel mystery, All Aboard for Murder. And it's a Halloween one. So I was telling everybody I'm celebrating Summerween. So I'm going to have a video, like a 6-minute video come out later this week, Monday, Tuesday. I don't know what date it is. It's on my little calendar. You'll see it when it comes out. So that one's really fun. That's a mystery series. You know what? I'm not going to say anything because I'm going to spoil my review, and I want you to come back and watch the review afterwards. So definitely do that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I should show you. I put it on my Instagram, but just in case you didn't see it, and this is not great for the people that are listening in audio version, but I don't care because it's so cute. At the event I was at this week at the Rhode Island in Pawtucket, they had a little artist doing pictures of your pets from selfie. Well, I guess they're not selfies, from photos. And look at, she got Madeline and Captain and the Cooper May, and she got their personalities so great. I love it. And I don't think my brother listens to the podcast, so I'm going to say it just in case he didn't get it. I also got one done of Miss Georgia, which is him and Shannon's dog, his girlfriend. And so hopefully they got it this week. I sent it out last week. But I just think that's so cute and I love it. And I got to make more videos so that I can put that right behind us there. So, okay, that's enough blabbering for me. I hope you enjoyed Jillian. Like I said, The Silence of Deceit, and then book 2 is coming out soon. And then book 3, she's almost done with. So like that one's going to be out probably relatively soon as well. But if you have questions, just, reach out. I'm around on every social media platform you can imagine, except X, because we don't follow X anymore. But on that note, happy reading, and go Red Sox. Who would have thought?